7 fire and safety products you simply must have before renting out your holiday let. Now in this modern age, we're all about safety, we're all about fire safety, but there are also some legal requirements. So if you are doing an Airbnb, renting out your caravan, renting out a room in your house, renting out your second home, something like that, then you need to comply with the law. And under the fire safety order, you're deemed as a responsible person, which means there are prosecutions. So it needs to be taken seriously. And I'm not sure that there's enough information out there to tell you of your responsibilities. First of all, you need to risk assess. So you need to do a fire risk assessment. Now you can employ someone to do that. I strongly recommend you avoid Googling it and finding people that say they can do it for 99 quid because they are not professional and they are not trained and they might get it wrong, and yes, you are still responsible because you employed them. The government website has advice on how to risk assess it yourself. Now, if you're a business, a place like this where I'm filming this, you want to bring in professionals, and that costs you a few £100 or more, but you get it done right. You can do it yourself. So I would suggest Google fire risk assessment for holiday lets, government advice, and you'll end up with some stuff with a .gov thing on the end, and there'll probably some leaflets and little booklets you can download and follow. Very simple. So first of all, alarms, smoke alarms. Very simple. We're demonstrating our stuff from our popular bundle. Now they have to be mains, not battery operated, okay? They need to be wired into the mains. So these are mains alarms, so you will need an electrician. Now, as well as being into the mains, of course, power can fail. So ideally they have a battery backup. Now these ones will have a battery backup included, simple replaceable one, but you can get them as a smoke alarm or as a heat alarm. And just a quick bit of advice, anyone who says, oh, the smoke alarm's always going off by the kitchen, then get a heat alarm. So professional commercial kitchens have heat alarms in. They do not go off with smoke. This will also not go off with shower steam, which is another one that sets them off and makes people disconnect. So use the proper equipment. Also, you need possibly a carbon monoxide alarm or detector. Now this one, as you can see, this is pretty much portable. You can just put it down anywhere. If you have a gas boiler or a burner, then that can generate carbon monoxide alarms. If you just have electric storage heaters and no gas in the building, no carbon monoxide. So if you've got a burning fire or gas, you must have carbon monoxide alarm. Do not put it right next to the source. Put it slightly away, but read the instructions inside because they'll give you good advice on how to do it. Now another thing, you will need emergency lighting. So when a smoke alarm goes off in the middle of the night and that person's in their room in the house they've rented, they just arrived this evening and they went straight to bed. When they get up, do you expect them to know how to get out? Do you expect them in the panic to know where the door is, where the key is, how to open the door, etc.? So emergency lighting is needed. Now, if you're thinking in your office, you've got lights up by the door with a big green fire exit. No, it doesn't need to be that serious. It just needs to be a backed up emergency light that is available. And we have this fantastic product, which is called Night Safe. Look at that, clever, eh? This just plugs into a wall and this little fella sits in it and it's always charging. Now it has a couple of modes. I try not to shine it. One, it operates as a flashlight and it does various things like that. But also, this is like a night light, so you've got options of different settings that can be permanently on, or it comes on in power, comes on bright in power, but the person can pick these up and find their way out. Now you might say, how many do you need? You need to light up the exit route, so use your common sense. You may want to put one in every room and one by the door. It's up to you, but certainly light up exit routes and stairs. Then we strongly recommend first aid. People, you have a duty of care. People can harm themselves in your kitchen. Why wouldn't you give them a first aid kit? Now this one, it's not a legal requirement as such. We just think as a duty of care, why would you not have a first aid kit? So a simple little, this one's a 56-piece first aid kit, easy to re-kit and fill back up. Or these things do not cost a lot, by the way. So do not sort of think, oh, it's going to cost me a load of money. And then how about this? Fire extinguisher and a fire blanket, just to get this in. You need a fire blanket for your kitchen. So simple fire blanket, but the fire extinguisher is more important. A lot of people will say do not use a powder extinguisher indoors. Now personally, I would say a 2-kilogram powder extinguisher is absolutely fine. Every other country in the world uses powder everywhere. In the UK, due to certain stuff I won't go into, where the trade influenced standards to sell other products, we end up saying, oh, don't use it indoors because it blocks visibility and everything. It puts the fire out. However, this is an all fires extinguisher. This contains it's like a liquid, it's like a water additive. This will put out any type of fire, no damage, no problem. And if you remember, I said to look up the government's advice on holiday let fire safety. They will just advise you to go to a big warehouse type DIY store. In other words, B&Q, because Homebase went bust a few years ago. So a B&Q type thing. If you go to B&Q, they actually sell this. It's called the Fire Exo. They do not sell the British Standard Kite Mark version, which professional fire safety companies do. Ours are always new products. It has the kite mark, so it's going to satisfy all the requirements, the correct labelling, and ours are a fraction of the cost of when B&Q sell them. So remember that. Yeah, you always think B&Q's cheap, eh? Not always. Obviously they're good for other stuff. Now that is your product bundle. What else might you need? How about fire safety notice? You need to print out, again, you've seen them at work, look by fire exits, look by fire alarm call points. You can copy that style, do your own, but people need instructions on what to do in a case of fire. When you go in a hotel, look on the back of the door, on the inside of the door, there will be a notice that tells you what to do, where to go in a case of fire. Copy something like that. It's quite simple. You also need a fire safety logbook. You need to keep a record of when things were checked, when things were installed. Again, if an insurer or a fire safety officer, bear in mind this is the law and there are prosecutions that can actually go right up to being put in prison. So they want to know your record, proof you've had this stuff done. Fire safety logbooks, only a £5, very easy, something like that. Now another one, how long will this last? This is our premium holiday let safety bundle. So extinguishers need testing every 5 years. Fire blankets generally recommended in fire safety advice for up to 7 years. Don't know where they came up with that. These particular smoke alarms have 10-year guarantee. And so this is a good investment. Now this whole lot is the premium. This has everything. This will cost you just under £200. Now you might think, oh gosh, that's a lot. How much are you letting your place out for? And are you taking this seriously? And this is a good price for a few years worth of goods. We also have smaller bundles and more simplistic bundles, missing some of the bits and pieces if you don't need them. So it's just a caravan, something like that. And that could cost you somewhere around £50. So there are in between. So we advise that you take it seriously, make sure you know that you're covered, have the correct official proper approved kite marked equipment, and then you'll be safe to go with your Airbnb, your holiday let, and your guests not only having a nice time will be safe from fire.